All right, guys, and hello, and finally, I'm live streaming after a long break, and yes, I've been busy with some projects. But anyways, so today, uh, we're starting an entirely new project, which is coding a gold market making bot on Gravity.io. So for those of you who, you know, are also curious about, why we're moving from Hyperliquid, so basically we have our you know current strategies running on Hyperliquid, and the performance has been like quite nice. But on some days, I felt like when the times are quite calm and slow, like this is a time where we can like try to look for new opportunities on new decks. And so the reason I decided to start doing that on Gravity is that right now, and I hopefully like in the long term, they actually pay you to be a maker, right? So they pay you to add liquidity, which means that even though you might have like just $100 or $1,000, so you're not a big hedge fund with lots of capital, you still can become a market maker. And I think that's a great opportunity for people who, are just getting started with market making, because in most cases you need a lot of money. And so yeah, so here on Gravity, you can earn maker fees by adding limit orders, and you actually get rebates. So it's not only it's for free, you are getting paid to become a market maker. And I'm really curious to start this new project because it's a new exchange, right? But the concept and the strategy is, to some extent the same. So what we're going to do in this project is, it's going to be pretty much the same as with Hyperliquid. We're going to use MT5 as our, source pricing, and we're going to use also MT5 as hedging in this, with this strategy. And so here I'm going to focus on gold because, personally I love trading gold, and on MT5 the spread in gold is also pretty cheap. So if you want to hedge our exposure, I think gold is very convenient if we want to run our system here. So when I say market making, so what we're going to do is we're going to compute the fair pricing, which we take from MT5. So we take XUSD on MT5. So this is the gold chart. And we're going to use that price, to code the bid and ask spread. So we're always going to, add some markup on the bid and also some markup on the ask price to become a market maker here. And because it's my first day, like the only thing I have set up right now is I deposited like $100 on this trading account. So here on my account, I have $100. And so there are a lot of things that we have to do when we start this project. So for those of you who, just arrived, and thank you for coming, let's first discuss the strategy plan, what we have to do. So we're going to work on, the project tasks, and then we're going to proceed with coding with Claude and, doing all the exchange connectors, back tests, and then we're going to hopefully test some strategies. And this project is, going to take some time, maybe 1 or 2 weeks until we actually get a fully working trading bot. But hopefully, by the end of this week, we already will have some first draft that is able to trade, and then we can like try to evaluate the results. So let's open our Asana, which is our project management tool, and let's have a quick brainstorm, what we can do to start this project. So here I'm going to uh, a lot has happened. So guys, if you have any questions about Hyperliquid, just feel free to ask. We can like quickly just provide an update on the strategies. But if there are no questions, then I will just proceed with Gravity.io. So this is our Gravity.io project plan. And so the first thing we need to do is we'll probably need to create an API key. to extract the data from this exchange and see if there is some pricing inefficiency. Tunggu, můžeš zavřít okno, prosím? Sorry, I just need to close the window. Thank you so much. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to generate an API key and connect the exchange. So this is our first task, which is generating the API key. The second task that we need to do is we need to then, try to subscribe to various endpoints. So we're going to test various API endpoints to see, how it is working with Exchange. Then after we're comfortable with, working with the API, we're going to extract the historical data from Gravity. Going to extract historical data and compare pricing with MT5. So this is like the first step to analyze the pricing discrepancies between Gravity and MT5. Then what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate or try to design strategy. So it's a market making strategy, right? So we just need the fair pricing of gold, add a markup on the bid, add a markup on the ask, and like we're going to evaluate or design a market making strategy, right? And then once we have this strategy designed, we can then code a trading bot. So we're going to code a market making. We're going to code a market making bot, and then we'll see the results. And then once the market making bot is done, we just need to observe, optimize, see how the trading bot executes. And then after that, we're going to do all other like dashboards as usual, dashboards, risk management tools, reporting, and so on, or monitoring. So it is the same thing as with Hyperliquid. Again, same procedure, but just a different API. And we're going to see how far we'll get. So it is quite a big project, but it is still, in my opinion, a very fun project. And so, again, why Gravity? So they have 0 maker fees plus rebates. So we're getting paid to trade. And like I want you guys to understand like getting paid to trade, right? You can design a break-even strategy, like on paper, right? The strategy is break-even, but because you're adding the liquidity, you are getting paid in rebates. So we can like actually try to design strategy that strictly maximizes the volume. We're not gonna make any profit at all, but still the rebates are going to pay us. So this is what the exchange wants. They want to have good liquidity where other participants can trade for a very good price, and this is basically our reward. So, hi, good to see you in live stream again. Yeah, thank you, Lawrence, for coming. Hi, don't do this on Gravity. They have liquidity problems. Better would be lighter, RiseX, or even extended. Yeah, I was like looking at Gravity, right? Their liquidity is actually not that high. So they have like 5 million 24-hour volume, but I still think it's like a good attempt, right, to try, because at the end of the day, even if we just deposit like 5K, 10K, or like something around that range, we can still try to make a profitable system. And I'm also like planning to try lighter and rise X or extended. So yeah, thank you, Dom, for suggesting that. But I already like did my plan, and like I'm going to proceed that. I mean, yes, Slider has no fees, but if you want to upgrade a professional one, where you can actually do market making, there is still a small fee. So like this like project is more targeted at like retail traders who start with low capital but still want to pursue market making. So treat it more like on the educational side, where you have the opportunity to trade for free, and like this is like a perfect sandbox to actually become a market maker with a low amount of capital. So I don't feel like I'm gonna become like super rich with this project, but at least for viewers and people who want to learn market making strategies, I think this is actually the perfect place to get started with. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion, and let's just proceed with that. It will take like probably just 1 or 2 weeks until we then move to another DEX, and by that time, hopefully a lot of you guys, yeah, will have learned something, right? So this is more focus on the educational side to become a market maker, because the only other like not DEX exchange, if you remember, we had our Revolut exchange, USDC and USD market making. There were also zero maker fees. So I'm like right now going to focus on exchanges that actually have zero maker fees to make this work. And like I don't know if it's going to be profitable, right? We're just starting, but I think we have a very high chance to create like a profitable system, and then we'll see the results, right? We'll see the results over time, how it performs. As I said, like we're going to focus on RWAs. This is again like what I like to focus on. So gold, PAXG, silver, they all look attractive to me, right? And then some ETFs, right? Like the SPY, like some stock indices, right? So this is what we focus on. What's good too, we are also quoting on today. Let's see how much volume we can stack. Okay, great to also have other people who have tried this. Variety has first move problems. They told me they have 15 exclude market base, but currently there is not much quoting. Okay, so that's why we can try to change that, right? So good liquidity means it attracts more traders, which means it increases volume, which means more profit for us. And I think it's up to the market makers and the liquidity providers to attract the flow, and like we'll do the best that we can, right? And maybe if we do a very good job on gravity, then maybe over time we can see some improvement. Like for example, let's look at JP225, right? So when we started trading JP225 on Hyperliquid, the 24-hour volume wasn't that high actually, right? I think if you look at the daily chart, right? We look at, I mean, maybe it's us, maybe it's random, maybe it's whatever, but we started market making, not like arbitrage trading, right? But it's our market making, we're adding liquidity, so it's something like in between, right? We're adding liquidity at the end of the day. So we add liquidity at the start of like June, right, on JP225. And ever since then, we saw a very big rise in volume. And like that could be, well, in my opinion, maybe we just, because we provide liquidity, it was more attractive to trade it. But there are like a lot of speculations. Maybe it's just random and JP just, but I think, with better quality and liquidity, you should also see higher volumes. So like the thing is, I'm very stubborn when it comes to strategies. A lot of people tell me, don't do it, don't do it, you're gonna lose money, or it's not worth it. And like a lot of times they are right, but I have like this internal like need or pressure to just do it, right? Because I just see some opportunity, and if it fails, I just need to see it for myself, right? I need to confirm, doing my own research and strategy, that it actually does not work. And I appreciate your feedback, but I'm still going to try and make it work, right? I'm going to try and make it work. What do you think of tokenization projects? Can you imagine it will be big in next years? Well, there are things like PAXG or X stocks. These assets, are like slowly increasing popularity. Other exchanges are also adopting blockchain technology for 24/7 trading, but I think we're still in the early days. But I think the blockchain technology has proven one thing, that like on Hyperliquid, when crude oil uh, had like this very big increase during the war, right? Hyperliquid had such high volumes, and there were so many speculators during the weekend, and I think people learned that the technology actually works, right? I think the trading technology on blockchain is like really, really good. And it's more about the legal and the compliance, and the client protection and all these things that you have to do, as a centralized exchange. Like on a DEX, it's much easier, right? There's no regulations, so people can do whatever they want. But I think the technology is great, and we just need to, allow time to provide this sort of compliance if you were to trade that on a centralized exchange. Because right now on IC markets, right, you trade stocks only 8 hours a day, right? Why can't you trade stocks 24/7, right? Why can't you have an exchange traded product where everyone can access that 24/7? I think people, over time will want that. Like me personally, I like the fact that I can also avoid overnight gaps, right? So when uh, you hold a position overnight on a stock or during a weekend, you have a weekend gap risk, overnight risk, and you can actually also like exit the trade prematurely. And I think that is, in my opinion, great when trading. Okay, so here I've already written the task. So let's proceed with generating the API key. Like today is my first day, so I still need to learn a lot of things. So here I already funded the account with like $100, 99.8. I think there are some small transaction costs, and I'm going to put that money into my perps account from my funding account to my perps account. So I'm gonna move that, and so complete. So now the money has arrived. And now let's check my API key. So here we are in the API section. Let's create the API key. And here I'm going to click on generate. Let's do the convenient one, right? I can always change the API keys later. I just have to be sure not to leak my keys now, right? That is going to be very important. So I'm gonna do it off screen for a second to just quickly generate the API keys. And I've already prepared like a project, right? So this is going to my project. I'm going to share with my members, once this is done. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an end file. And here, I'm going to save my Gravity API key file. So 1 second. So let's create the API key now. And actually, I can just set it to read only because we're not going to trade. Like in the beginning, we're just going to export the data, run some back tests, and now I'm just saving the API keys. Gonna store them. Great. So it is now stored. And everything is saved. So yeah, that is great. So now we can go back our trading platform. And yeah, so now we have the API key saved here. Actually, it's read only, so I don't have to worry about leaking it right now because the only thing you could do is like read from the account. But we're going to set up the Claude project now, right? And opinion, and also regarding stocks, bonds, etc. The only you and your counterpart, this is the blockchain, no other institution have a fee. Oh, so yeah, I think people are going to become much smarter in the future. Like there will always be dumb money. Like it's crazy, right? So people will always chase get rich quick schemes and get scammed or pay high fees on exchanges. But that's how it is, right? And whether the people do it, on a platform like MT5 or do it like on a platform like Hyperliquid or some centralized exchange, there will always be dumb money, but the difference between like DEXs and MT5 is that on MT5, there can only be dumb money, right? You can't become smart money like a market maker, liquidity provider, arbitrage trader on a platform like MT5, because the broker already sets the pricing and spread that is like already against you, right? So unless you are like very good speculator who can like speculate on the direction of a market, then that's probably fine, but that's very difficult. But if you want to, you know, become the house, become the market maker, you actually have the opportunity to do that on these DEXs and now also like centralized exchanges. And so for that reason, I think more and more people will learn that trading is more than just predicting the direction. Like if you invest like in, you know, hold stocks or ETFs, I guess that's fine. But if you do like intraday trading, which I'm like super against, because trading intraday manually is like super difficult, and we all know that most traders lose money. I think it's easier to like maybe try what I'm doing right here, right? So I'm trying to like teach people that there are other ways to make money than just betting on the direction manually. Okay, so here I set up the Claude project, and so API keys have been generated, and now we need to connect to various endpoints. So first, I think I need to create a Claude MD file. So in this MD file, I'm going to like tell Claude what this project is about, so we can start. Yeah, start working on this project here. Okay, uh, so this project is grvt.io marketing project. This project, I want to create a market making bot on grvt.io, mainly focusing on RWAs. I want stream real-time prices from MetaTrader 5 and quote a spread around MT5 pair price. So the next thing that I'm going to hit, so step one, I have added the API credentials in .env. I have API credentials.env for grvt.io, and I want to create a simple WebSocket class that can stream data from the exchange. Important. This project is going to live streamed. Please avoid printing sensitive data such as Nike wallet addresses, etc. For example, avoid .env variables. Okay, so I think this is like the first step here. We're going to also, probably we're also going to create a project, but it's fine. Please initialize the project from Claude. Okay, I need to log in. Seems like I'm logged out. So initialize or log in my Claude account. I'm just going to here. Then I'm gonna okay. Okay, so now let's log in and hopefully running. Table 5 is back until July 7th. Let's check. What model are we using right now is the question. You're currently Fable 5, all right. But yeah, the trading has been like really nice in Hyperliquid, right? So as you can see, like we're already up like $3,800 since we started trading on Hyperliquid in a large account. So it's not like I'm moving away to a different exchange, right? I'm still super happy on Hyperliquid, but I think it's just a natural thing to look for backups or new strategies because, you know, I could just sit on a beach now and like be like, oh yeah, I make a few $1,000s every month and then I don't have to like lift a finger or something. But you know, I actually enjoy discovering new strategies and new exchanges. So this is what I would do anyways for fun. So yeah, so we're just going to add a new dex, and over time we'll have like multiple dexes or multiple dex strategies. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be the same thing, right? Look, compute the fair price, quote a spread around it. You can like do arbitrage or like market making. It's like you can always decide. But it's all about, you know, just looking for exchange and adding like here. I was looking at the live dashboard, and on the account with 100K, the price on both platforms MD5 and Applicate had converged well, but the positions didn't liquidate. Is this liquid issue? Does the entire need to... Okay, there's like a lot of text, so let me just read through your entire message. Right, so there are like 5 questions in that. So you know, while Claude is, you know, working, so let's look at this thing here. Yeah, you're right. All the positions didn't liquidate, and there are multiple reasons, and that is because we're adding liquidity. So maybe like we still haven't hit our like target like exit level. So even though the positions are in a floating profit, maybe we still haven't like reached that, which we can try to confirm in our control panel. So let's look like on JEJP, right? So here we see that right now the cross exchange spread, it tries to exit when it's at 0, right? And here we're at like plus 17 or plus 55. So it needs to drop a bit lower to trigger the exit signal. So that's one thing. Second thing is maybe liquidity issue because we're always adding maker orders. So we're adding liquidity. So we depend on a counterparty to execute the trade for us, right? So this is the second issue. Maybe there's not enough liquidity. Uh, does the algorithm break the order into small pieces? Yes. So we're trying to exit in small chunks, not the entire position size. So we split the thing into small sizes. And then the positive funding rate working in your favor? Yes. So our arbitrage tries to almost always capture positive funding rate. So for example, here on Hyperliquid, we're plus $244 in funding rates today. So we're also trying to make money on the funding rates here. So right now today, like we called a nice trade on SP500 plus 181, and then on JP225, which is 126. And so on SP, right here you see that it's in a realized PNL. So this is like money made primarily from the spread. And here in JP225, it's mainly coming from the funding. So depending on the asset, right, and on the trade setup, sometimes you make more money on funding, sometimes you make more money on the spread. So that depends like on the symbol strategy and the current state of the market. What's your strat for US 500? It's actually a very simple one. So for US 500, we're just measuring comparing the pricing with MT5. And right now, I buy at -7, exit at -2, and I sell at 6 and exit 0. So here, for SP 500, I like added like these very like quote a very large spread. And the reason why I do that is that I'm mainly allocated on JP225 now, right? So if I get a trading opportunity, I want to at least enter at a very good price, which in fact I did, which is really nice. But usually it's like at -4. Like if I try to, focus all my money on SP 500, I would like maybe enter at -4 or short at 4, sometimes even 3. Or in this in general. So this strategy mainly tries to, make money on the spread or the funding rate, right? So you need to measure the pricing discrepancies. So if we just go to Arbitrage Lab, right? So here I made this app, so feel free to check it out. So if you're interested in, second, let's continue. The nice thing about Claude is you just write a prompt and then I can chat with you guys, which is really cool. So here on SP 500, you can view the historical spread here. And so it compares the price between Hyperliquid and MT5. And then like sometimes you see like sometimes the discrepancy is like very, very large, right? Which in this case, like that would have been like a very good trade setup, which is like crazy. So here we have the spread, right? Sometimes we see that it drops like quite low, so we can buy like at -5, for example, and then try to exit. So this strategy, there are many ways you can trade this strategy, but it's all about just comparing the fair price and then adding a markup or like coding a spread around it. So for example, if MT5 price is some value, you can try to buy on Hyperliquid for $4 cheaper or $4 more expensive, and then that should, create a profit. So all strats are the same. It's not just for indices. It can be applied for Forex, commodities, and crypto. So it's always the same. Just look for these pricing discrepancies and buy when the discrepancy is high and exit when the discrepancy or low. All right, so here we created a first version where we try to connect to the exchange. And then I'm going to provide Claude with some extra, information. First, I have to see like if the API connection works. That's the main thing. So we need to confirm that the API keys are actually able to connect to the exchange. And then if yes, then we can try to stream some, live prices and historical prices from the exchange and compare that with M5. Mauritius countries because I see trades in Mauritius. Yes, of course. If you want like a broker who has better regulation, like maybe located in Europe or ASIC, right, or FCA, feel free to use any broker, that you want. Like personally, I think regulation in my case, it's more limiting, right? Because as a retail trader, I only get leverage 1 to 30. So I'm like willing to accept the risk, of having a broker offshore because then I can have higher leverage. And higher leverage, of course, means that I can open larger positions. And then I can also, as a result, try to make more money, right? But for most traders, like if you go leverage 1 to 20, 30, that should be fine. So it's all about like capital efficiency at the end of the day. And one big factor is that IC trading allows depositing with crypto. And so because we work with crypto, it's very convenient to deposit and withdraw with crypto. But these are just very small optimizations, right? So the strategy could work like if you deposit it with a wire transfer. But I'm very impatient when it comes to rebalancing, right? Because then you have to wait 2 to 3 days to rebalance your account. So yeah, it's mainly my impatience when it comes to deposit and withdrawals. Anyways, as I said, so if we manage to finish this project by the end of the week, I'll be super happy. Like if I deposit like $1,000 or $10,000 and make a little bit of money, I think that's great because that's just at least like showing you that like within a few days or a week, we can design profitable trading systems, and especially in Gravity because the maker fees are zero and you have rebates. Literally anyone can try to copy the strategy and use it like for their own project. Okay, so it looks like it works here. So can you put Gravity API connector? I'm going to create a folder called Exchange Connectors, which is the same like as with the Hyperliquid. Like right now, I'm doing a separate project because I don't want to, be confused with other files with Hyperliquid MT5. So once this is done, then I will import this project into my Hyperliquid project where we can try to implement, the logic into my, control panel, dashboards, and so on. So it will be compatible with multiple DEXs. But whenever I start something new, I just like a blank project so I don't have to worry about these things. And then when it's done, then Claude can do a lot of things to prove that. So here I'm going to create new directory exchange connectors. Can you put connector files into exchange connectors folder and import the class. No, recently I had, I always said that I hate watching trading content on YouTube, but I realized that I'm just looking at like the wrong type of content, right? But I think like if you look, how would I say? I forgot the guy's name. I would love to tell you that channel. When I remember, I'll let you know. But there is actually also very good trading content, and I started to watch that, and like it kind of inspires me what other people are also able to do. Because for a long time I just assumed all trading content on YouTube scam, which most of it is, right? Uh, but there is something like interesting that I saw recently, and it also like inspired me to try some things. Okay, nice. So here we see that we have BTC USDT perpetual. So it's connected via WebSocket, and so it's stream real-time pricing from Gravity. Is great. So now what I'm going to do, because the title of this video is creating a gold arbitrage bot, I'm going to stream XAU USDT prices. So here we have some configuration files. Are you using Avelanida Stoikov? How are you skewing for inventory and volatility, etc.? Well, first of all, I don't know what the first sentence means, so sorry about that. First of all, I'm not a quant, so I don't really work with that. I'm not skewing for inventory and volatility. I'm just quoting a fixed spread, right? So in this strategy, I'm just going to compute the real-time fair value of gold and then just going to quote a fixed bid-ask spread around that level, while I hedge the exposure on Gravity with my MT5 platform. So that's the main thing I'm focusing on this live stream. Where do they teach these things? Like, do you guys like learn that online, or are there like actual market making schools, or like I'm curious, where do you learn these things? It's quite interesting. Like people always come to live stream with very cool terms, like I know that they exist, but I don't know what they mean. And so in my mind, all I do is just quote a fixed spread, and then I run a basic backtest, and uh, so it's interesting that there are actually a lot of like knowledgeable people, and sometimes I feel like an imposter. Of course, I don't think I'm an imposter because I tell you straight up that I don't know what it means, but there is like probably an entire science and mathematics behind that. Can you stream prices on XAU instead of Bitcoin? So here I'm going to stream prices on gold, and then I'm going to add the Gravity exchange connector. So here I'm going to Gravity, right? I'm going to add MT5 folder, and then we're going to compare the real-time pricing of XAUSD on IC markets and XAUSD on Gravity. So we're going to see, the real-time pricing differences, and then I'm going to create a very simple dashboard to visualize, the current live spread. I know a few friends specializing in HFT. It's really interesting, and you should check it out too. It's essentially just quantifying volatile prices and just your quotes. Try keep your inventory. Yeah, so I understand with the inventory, right? So uh like when you have a lot of one asset on the one side, you are more inclined to sell it, right? So you can buy again because otherwise your margin or capital is blocked. Yeah, that's all I know about it. Like the thing is about like perpetual futures, right? Like if you're like a classical market maker, market making spot assets, right? Then the inventory management and skewing is like very important. But when I trade like perpetual futures, right? The thing about perps is that when the price deviates by a lot, we have like this very nice funding rate. So the higher the pricing discrepancy, the better the funding rate, and the more I'm actually inclined to hold the position rather than skew the exit, if that makes sense. Unless there is a different market opportunity, which sometimes I do see better market opportunities. So I manually skew the exit, like I would exit at like a break-even price or a slight loss to reinvest or reallocate that capital on a new strategy. So I do understand the concept, and like probably I would also need a way to automate that, which would like be a very good optimization. Love that you keep things as simple as possible. As we can see, it's working. Uh, I mean, the concept of market making is always the same, right? You always like quote the spread around level, and then when you apply things like people say apply Kalman filter or like price skewing or add a volatility adaptive, whatever it is, I think all of these things work, right? They all work. But if my strategy works without all these things, right, then there's actually so much that can be improved. So if I'm able to create a profitable strategy without those things, then we know it can only get better, if that makes sense. So I like the simplicity where if I just quote a static spread and I'm able to make money, then I guess we're like starting like really nicely. Because if we can, Or imagine like I applied all like these fancy tools, advanced method tools, and my strategy would not perform very well. What other options do I have to make it work, right? So um, starting something simple that already works is like a good prerequisite to optimize it later. In high school, I hope break into Jane Street. I get into first. Well, good luck to you guys. I think like in universities there might be like a finance class where you can learn these things. I think the best way to learn this is actually just go to a trading firm, and that's the best way to learn that. But I heard like there are things like quant interviews or quant books that you can also study. So I guess there are ways to get into this type of thing, but I never knew how. Let's restart this. So we need to change the path. I moved the files. Can you update the ports? But isn't that cool, right? With a single prompt, right? All I did is I created a very simple Claude MD file. I have my environment variable file here, which are the API keys. And we already are streaming the bid and ask prices, right? Something like that would take me maybe 1 hour, 2 hours to actually just go through the API documentation and read, right? So here you have the API docs. So here actually CCXD, so probably it won't be like that bad. XD, but here I see that this is their like WebSocket documentation and all of that. I remember like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't know what WebSockets were like a few years ago, and I had to learn that like myself, and it took me a lot of time to get a hang of it. You know that WebSockets are completely different from like HTTP, like REST calls, and with a single prompt, I'm able to do that. I'm like still in shock that it's actually quite fast. And on top of that, I'm chatting with you guys. So probably I'm not using that much brain power right now to do all of that. So right now it's more about like efficient project planning, knowing what you want and knowing what the results should be. Okay, oh, already just did this task. So we're going to connect to this MT5 account and we're going to stream XAUSD prices from MT5. Do I see like maybe tomorrow we could already have functioning trading bot like that could happen? Yeah, so the things in HT is like I feel like the edge is like super small, right? Like also the volumes are super high, but competition is very high. When we look at like a DEX like Gravity or like Hyperliquid, I'm like if you look at like the pricing discrepancies that you sometimes see, like do you see this? Like here, the pricing MT5 Hyperliquid is completely like off, right? And so if you were able to capture this price difference, and this is real, right? I checked that myself. They're like, this is real. There is so much money to be made, and like this is impossible. Like this, seeing that is like impossible in traditional finance. If you went to interactive brokers, and you, for example, try to arbitrage, let's say CME futures on indices against like CFDs or ETFs, you will never find such pricing these pricing differences. It's almost impossible. But for some reason, on like crypto dexes, like on Hyperliquid, it is there, and it's actually very simple. So that's like very interesting. Okay, let me try to restart the script and try to get the pricing on gold. So there's like a 1 cent spread, And so now I'm going to connect to MT5 and I'm going to compare the pricing of MT5 gold with Gravity gold real time. So soon we'll have a very simple dashboard, and then we can like try, as I said, create a very simple market making bot to quote like the bid ask spread. And the thing is like, where are, I need to ask like, where are the servers located? I think maybe it's in Asia or Tokyo. Where are IO trading servers located? I need to sign in. Right, 1 second. Let me sign in. Okay, so now we're logged in. Okay, I'm going to for the MT5 connector, I just want to provide the login and MT5 path. Initialize MT5 using path and verify the login. No password. I guess you could quote one side on Gravity, which pays good funding rates, and hedge on the other, so like cross-exchange market making, but directional on each to capture funding rates. Yes, that's a great proposal. This is actually exactly what we're doing on Hyperliquid right now. So we're adding liquidity only on one side when the price deviates, and then we hedge it on MT5, and that, like, in a way, is also like a funding rate arbitrage. Um, but the thing is, we haven't done like on live streams, or I haven't like shown you, is like providing 24/7 quotes or 24/5. And like the advantage of providing 24/5 quotes is that from time to time you will get like huge market orders, right? That will sweep through the order book, and you're able to catch also big liquidations, big market orders that you wouldn't be able if you were more reactive, right? You can be reactive, wait for the price to deviate, or you can already be positioned in the market, so you're already able to accept or absorb some of that, like some of that flow. So when people submit big market orders, so you don't have to be like at top of book the entire time. You just have to be positioned, so when a big market order happens, you can like absorb that, and then when you get filled, you would then hedge that with MT5. So I wanted to focus more on like the market making part because we haven't done it yet, and like this is going to be like a very interesting project. But in any case, it's also going to be somewhat of funding rate arbitrage, because if we get filled on one side, right, and the price deviates more, we can just hold that position and make money in funding rates. I want you to stream both prices on Gravity and MT5 on gold, and print out the cross exchange spread using mid prices. If you're only creating strategies using Claude Code, what's stopping other people from doing as well, and it should be paying you? Well, nothing's stopping you or nothing's stopping me. So people can just try to do themselves, but like it looks easy on stream, but there are a lot of like little things that people don't know how to do. Like most people don't even know how to open trade on a platform. But I think, how would I say, like if you're smart enough to code it with Claude anyways, then you don't need me in the first place. And if you are not smart enough or not experienced enough to do it with Claude, then probably you will need my help or someone else's help to learn from me or someone else. So uh, I think with AI right now, so much is possible with AI. I think the competition will increase. So I think what people actually want is not how to get their product, but more how to get it done with the help of AI. And I want to like be there in the community to actually guide people to create these, strategies, products using AI. And that's how it is because AI is only going to get better. And if I live in the illusion that, okay, I'm just going to keep my strategies to myself, I bet that within the next few years, everyone will be able to create their own algorithmic strategies with Claude, right? I could literally tell Claude, hey, I want to create a Bollinger bot on MT5. Can you help me out? And within 15 minutes, you don't have to be a trader. You have your own strategy. And so I would rather accelerate that process and be the person to actually guide you than be the, scared that my strategy will leak because what I'm showing you is so simple. It is the simplest market making strategy that ever existed on this market, right? There are so many more complex things that you could actually add. So I don't feel like I'm giving something away that's valuable. It is public knowledge what I'm doing here, right? You just need the commitment, the experience, some money to actually do it yourself. So yeah, so talking about that, so if you want to do it alone, you don't have to pay me. But if you need my assistance, I'm here and I'm happy to share the code with you guys. Because I'm not gonna live in the illusion that, okay, what I'm doing here is going to be valid in the next 5 or 10 years. We always need to evolve and always need to do new things. And the way I see is that a lot of people will eventually do the same thing as I do with the help of AI. And so why not just put it out there and learn how to do it if it's only a matter of time when others are doing it. There's a saying, sell a shovel, don't mind gold, right? So I'm selling the shovel by teaching people how to do it Claude or any other large language model that they want. Okay, so let's restart the script. So, wow, this is interesting. So what I can see here is that, so guys, this is the spread, right? So right now, gravity is $2 above MT5, which is quite a lot, right? $2.5 on gold is like a huge difference. And so I could like try to sell at 2, exit at 1. Again, there are no fees, right? There are rebates, so we could like design like a very, very cool strategy. Like I'm super excited about this. Can you create a simple Dash app to visualize the real-time prices and spread? Use DBC darkly. So now we're going to create a web app to visualize these pricing discrepancies. And do I see like we can almost try to, place some test rates, right? So we can place some test rates on the exchange and try to quote like a bid-ask spread. So first we need to compute the limit prices for bid and ask, and then we need to, provide the exchange with these prices and update them continuously, right? Maybe like an update interval of 0.1, 0.25. Again, we don't have any collocation, so we need to collocate all of that like probably on a Japanese server. So I'm going to like order a Japanese VPS this week, and then we can try to run the strategy there. Nice. So now we're creating, oh, we're now at +3. Like, do you see that it's so fast and the discrepancies are so huge? That is like we're crazy. So, so the next step is like try to submit some test orders, or you know what? I'm just gonna tell Claude to just do it and then verify. But yeah, and now we're back to 1.4, right? So wow, the price discrepancies, they move like by quite a lot, and it's not just some like small price spikes. They're like huge differences. Now we're back at one. A $1 difference is like super huge. I also need to look at the time and sales. I'm also interested like in the liquidity and like you know how often orders are getting executed. So here you see like trades, right, that are performed on the exchange. So again, it's not very liquid, but let's just like create like a strategy where we like quote a spread maybe 2 or 3 points above and below MT5, and then we're going to run this market making strategy on Gravity. AWS gives you credits. Type of credits. I tried AWS like 3 weeks ago. It was a bit confusing in the beginning, but then I got used to it. You can collocate in Japan, Northeast one for basically free. Ah, that's cool. So we can like try to make our like AWS strategy. Okay, so now hopefully the dashboard will be done soon. And so I'm going to show you what Claude, you know, has cooked. Okay. So here we have our dashboard. So let's see how it looks. It's a very like simple dashboard. So let's have a look at it. So what you have here is the mid price on Gravity on gold, right? So it is slightly above MT5. And here we have the MT5 real-time price on gold. And like we do see that here, this is the cross exchange spread by like comparing the mid prices between those two curves. And so like when the cross exchange spread here, for example, is like 5, right? This means that we can try to sell at 5, right? And then we would like try to maybe exit at 1 or 0. So we see that on Gravity, there is no cost, right? So we don't pay any fee. And on MT5, the fee is actually very low. You would pay like 20 cents on MT5. It costs 20 cents on MT5 to like run the hedge. So if we create a system like we sell at 3, exit 1, we make $2, we pay 20 cents, you know, on the trade. So that's only 10% of the profits that we could potentially make. Like, do you see that? Like here, the mid prices, they update so slowly. Market making here, it would be so easy, right? Because here we see very, very huge pricing discrepancy. But then Dom, you know, he wrote that the liquidity on Gravity is like very low, right? So maybe that could like we would not be able to make a lot of money with a large capital, but of course we can try and see what we get. So do you see it, guys, right? This is like insane, especially because we pay no fees. And so now I'm gonna like make a coffee and actually let's go straight into trading. I need to text my partner, hey, I want $1,000 on Gravity and $1,000 on MT5, the netting account. We're then going to create this market making system. And actually, I feel like like I can feel it now. Like before, I was like, okay, I'm going home in 1 hour and I'm gonna have dinner and whatever. But now that I see the chart, I actually want to finish the project today or tomorrow, and that would be quite interesting. Here, the price updates are not that frequent, right? Whereas MT5 is like super. So this strategy is not latency sensitive at all. If you look at it, like if we like computed like a 5-second moving average, this is not a latency sensitive strategy. We could even do market making with like 1 second delay, to be honest. So collocation in theory is not necessary. Of course it helps, but I think I can make money from my PC here. Maybe Gravity W's only updates on the last price, not the mark price. The things yeah, let's see. I don't think so though. Does Gravity WebSocket price update on new bid ask or on new mark price for last trade? So let's confirm that. I think it's like a great comment, right? We need to check if the price updates are real time or they update like based on some event that's not related to bid ask. But I think it's like a bid ask event that updates sends a new order book snapshot. So let's see. Okay, I need to text my partner. Hey, can you create an MT5 netting account? All right. So I told my partner to, fund an account with $1,000 on MT5, send another $900 on my Gravity account, and I think today we can like actually try to run like a first version. Which cloud model are you mainly using? Right now I'm using Fable 5. Okay, so all right, so we're updating on the best bid ask right now. So whenever the bid and ask changes, that's what updates it. I want to create a strategy now, or actually let me add this. So here we're going to define our market making strategy, right? So people are like, oh, you're giving out your strategies for free. But yeah, it's actually the easiest way of trading. Just buy low, sell high. But most people don't do it because they just don't know better. So, number one, uh, limit price on GRVT are derived from MT5 prices. So limit price GRVT is MT5 bid minus markup. So limit price ask on gravity is 5 ask plus markup. So another thing is if limit price always send limit orders as macro orders, add liquidity. Next thing is if limit price on gravity is inside the order book, limit price is rejected because it exceeds top of book price. Place macro order at top of book plus offset, and 6. Monitor exposure on gravity, and stop placing orders on one side if exposure exceeds that value. 7. Inputs, order volume, bid markup, ask markup, max exposure, and that's it. So so these are rules for the market making strategy, like super simple. Just quote spread around that level, and let's code it. I have added a new task in market strategy section. Can you implement it? All right, so our money's on the way, and see how it goes. But guys, it'll be quite funny, right? Like, how long are we streaming right now? Like 1 hour 13 seconds. If I'm able to create like a market making bot within 2 hours, then you know that anything's possible with Claude, right? So anyone could do it. It's all about like finding an exchange, providing liquidity, having, have some appetite for risk, stuff like that. And like there are also many things that can go wrong, right? So I'm not saying this is risk free. You also need uh like AI is great for building things, but when things screw up, uh then it's quite bad. And who's there to fix it, right? All right, money's in the way. Okay. Like our dashboard is still running. Cool. So yeah, so what you see here is actually correct. I mean, look, it's 4, sometimes 6, sometimes 2. Like for me, this is super exciting. Like I think I would also like show the trades. I think we can try to display the buy and sell orders on this exchange. That are like filled. And yeah, that would. Right. So this is going to be like a very, very long task probably. So I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. Right. I'll make some coffee and I'll be right back. And then in the meantime, feel free to just look at this dashboard, and I'll be back in this. All right, so thanks for waiting, and I'm back. Got my coffee with oat milk, and let's proceed with see, if the strategy, has been implemented. Like literally, guys, like trading is like so simple, right? All I told Claude is like, hey, I have this. Create a market making strategies with these things, and like within I don't know 30 minutes, it's gonna be ready. And so the question is, what is like, why is it so easy? Why are we able to make money, right? In like, how would I say, like with all these banks, HFTs, hedge funds, and all these efficient things, why is it like still possible to do this? And I think the answer is just that maybe the big banks, they don't bother, right? Because oh yeah, the volume's not good. Maybe I can make a few hundred or a few $1,000s on this asset, and then that's all. The edge is there, but the volume is not high enough. So this is probably like this DEX is a place where like retail traders can actually capitalize on that, right? Because still modern finance and everything, most of it like still happens on centralized exchanges, on stock exchange and so on. So like I think this is like a good opportunity to just jump into it. And because there are so many DEXs nowadays, right? Uh, it's more about looking and searching for these DEXs and assets rather than designing a profitable strategy. Designing a profit strategy is the easy part. I think the most important part is just being flexible, finding a DEX where a strategy works, and like just look for new assets and symbols. So I feel like maybe in the future I'll have to adapt, right? Maybe Hyperliquid will become too efficient. I'll have to move here, then I'll move there, and then and so on and so on. So like at the end of the day, it's always the same thing. Just add liquidity, write efficient code, co-locate with the broker or exchange servers, and that's it. Nothing revolutionary. It's always the same thing as market maker. Just quote the spread. It's like one is cheaper, one is more expensive. Sometimes you don't even need to hedge, right? Hedging is only like to secure your profits, but like when you get into like try to maximize volume and profits, then you don't actually use hedging, right? So yeah, you can see that we're trying to exit my JP225 trade, funding rates over $700. Like nothing has been going on for the past 2 weeks, and then on Friday JP had like 350% funding rate, right? And now we have this. This is like really nice to see. Like after a long time, we're like making hundreds of dollars. Um, before it was like we always made like a bit like $100, but you see that like the past 2 weeks have been very calm. Like we caught one good trade, made like almost $400, right? But for most part, our profits were like below 100 because we're also stuck in our S&P position. And then on Friday, I just decided to allocate lots of money on JP, right? And like the days before, we also had like nice profits. But now, uh, I think some days you just need to accept that you're not going to make like hundreds of dollars every day. Like you just patient and wait for times because sometimes markets are calm and sometimes they're wild, and like we have to adapt that. Okay, so let me log in to the new trading account. So my partner, he created a new MT5 account and deposit money on that account. I'm just going to log in, making sure I don't leak my login credentials accidentally. Login, and we have a fresh 1K account on MT5 and then another 1K account on Gravity. I think the money's already on the way. So yeah, I'll check. All right, then never mind. The MT5 account doesn't work that well, but we can, just try market making unhedged on Gravity, and once that MT5 account is done, we can then apply the hedging to secure some profits later. Thing is, I also need to check. Uh, so someone mentioned like it's located in AWS Tokyo. Yeah, northeast one. So there's an AWS private link, but information happens off-chain on those Tokyo servers, while settlement and funding impacting those actions are pushed on-chain with their that case sync-based chain. So only the off-chain matching layer has a physical server location that matters for. All right. And here a taker fee is 0.045%. Compute that, what it means. Like if you're like a speculator and you just need liquidity, right? To trade there. Does it mean 4,000 times 0.00045, 1.8 times 2. So like as a retail trader, if you like speculated, it would cost you 3.6 US dollars. So my advice for you is like don't trade gold on a DEX. It's too expensive. Like 3.6. It is too expensive. Like you have a better shot like making money on MT5, CFDs, or trading the GLD ETF. It's all cheaper. So the thing is like we have to think about who are we buying or selling to, right? And it's the dumb money on the DEXs. Like we have to be like honest about how we make money. The way we make money is make money no spread, and the one who pays the spread and pays the fee is actually the speculator, the retail trader, the dumb money who is willing to buy at the bad prices. So we just have to accept the fact that these are the people who actually lose money, and we're profiting off of them, and that's why it works, right? So, but that applies to like any exchange, any trading platform. It's always the dumb money, feeding the LPs, the brokers, and so on. So we're just trying to be part of a system or be the participant that is on the winning side, right? And that's like sadly how it works. Like people will always speculate, they will always like pay huge fees and large spreads, and there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is just provide better liquidity, making sure that they get good liquidity, good pricing at all times, and we're getting rewarded for that. So that's how you have to play the game in finance. Okay, so like in theory, it would be like interesting to run like a market making strategy where we like do not what is it, hedge on MT5, so we get an additional edge, which means we don't have to pay for the hedging fee. But then I have to simulate, exactly how volatile our strategy portfolio would be in case we do not hedge on MT5. There was actually a guy who proposed to me, I think it was a few weeks ago, that like we could create like our own fund, like a wallet where we would send money, and like through like different smart contracts, it would then trade on like any DEX that we want, and it would like provide liquidity. So we'd have like our own market making and like liquidity trading strategies. I mean, that sounded like kind of cool, but that already goes like into the realm of managing other people's money. But because it's all like automated, right? So it's like transparent what it does. It would just be, through public smart contracts. I think that like that type of project would be quite interesting. It's just that I'm always like worried with my do with third-party funds. I can always make some issues and stuff like that. But imagine you'd have like a fully automated system of the blockchain that can also trade for you. But then I'd need to dive deeper into actual blockchain technologies and how to do that basically. So what are the rate limits on Gravity? I want to know how often I can refresh my orders. So our script is done, so we can actually start market making now. I check my funds, right? So here I have $900, so I can actually move the money to my trading account, and then I can like start trading. Whoops. So funds have been moved. And I want to specify market per class inputs inside the file instead of args. Okay, so now yeah, we just okay. So this is going to be interesting. Oh, I forgot one thing, and that is that I created a read-only API key. So quickly like off on a separate window, I'll create new API keys and update that. So second, so I can update my, or I can create a new API key with trading permissions. So I'm gonna do it now, and all right. So now I'm just going to copy the new API key. Now we can try to run our script on our account. So we have $1,000 here, right? So we have $1,000 here. Wow, I think our WebSocket might disconnect here. The pricing is, yeah, I think because start this. Oh, right, because I disconnected from my MT5 platform. I tried to log into my new account, but it disconnected. So I'll have to log into my previous account. Right, so now I just need to start my script again, and it should work. So here we're connected to our MT5 account, and so now if I refresh, and now everything's correct again. Okay, so here's our market maker, and here you can specify the settings. So I want to update every 250 milliseconds. Let's set the order volume to 0.01. We mark up like $2 up and $2 below. The maximum exposure is 0.05, which is fine with me. The top of book offset is going to be like 0.1. And I need to ask Claude what these. So rate milliseconds, requote tolerance. What do values mean? Like I probably know what they mean, but I'm just going to ask just to make sure. So I think requote, refresh, like how often the limit order should update. So I think it should be like maybe 0.25, but we'll see what. So here, what we have is how often Gravity's WebSocket sends us market data. All right, so it only displays the rate at which Gravity like displays the things, and here the refresh is the heartbeat of strategy. So here we should do it to 250. You could go down to 0.4 at tier 1. Position polling is the binding straight, or if it came from that. Is the market making bot? Okay, let's try to do a refresh interval of 250 0.5 every milliseconds. That is size where a refresh cycle actually does any cycle comparison price. All right, so let's just try to run the script and see what happens, and then we're going to monitor. So now, so this is a dry run. So these are the bid prices, 4009, 4013, and so the MT5 price is 4011. And so now I'm gonna set to false, and then we're going to see trading account is missing from .env. Copy the trading account from Gravity UI app settings. All right, so here there is something like called the trading account ID. So I will need to copy that, and I will need to add that into my .env file. So again, I'm going to update my stuff. So Gravity trading account ID is equal value. So I've updated that value. So now, all right. So what happened here is that you are not authorized to access functionality. So here I got this error. So let's see what we have to do to fix this. Because I think I provided like all of the API functionalities. So like that's quite interesting. But we'll see, what Claude. Issue here is oh, I see what it is. So there is like a different trading account ID. I think I added wrong trading account ID because that it should have like used the trading account ID from my API keys probably because that like handles the trades. So how about I just try to restart it now and maybe it should work. And okay, so now if I go my platform, what you can see here is that here I have placed my sell limit. It works. So guys, we are market making now. Look at that. So here, this is our like buy limit, right? And this is our sell limit here. So we are trying to always be positioned in the market, right? It's 14 here. And we're like entering and exiting, but yeah, so I think it is working. So here we're adding liquidity and like now what we have to make sure is that we won't get like what is it? Rate limited. So I still need to check the rate limits. But here we're buying and selling, we're buying and selling, we're buying and selling, like updating the orders, right? So if I go to open orders, like you cancel and then you add a new limit order, you cancel, then you add a new limit order with like every new order price basically. And maybe I will increase the tolerance, right? So we don't like cancel too early. And I think like with our strategy, our recall tolerance could be maybe like 25 cents even, right? So that way our order stays longer without having to get canceled. And so now, because our tolerance is higher, these orders like stay longer. So do you see that? We have like, this is our buy limit and it's our sell limit, and it's just waiting to get filled based on the 5 price. I mean, that's it, right? That's all you have to do. You just apply the spread. And then if you want to hedge it, we can just, create like an exposure listener or listen to the fills and then hedge that with MT5 to secure some profits. But I think we'll do that tomorrow. And tomorrow, like we'll try to trade. I'll connect MT5 to hedge the exposure, and our strategy basically is done. And then the remaining things like doing reporting, monitoring, risk management tools, right? Monitor the margin and so on. But the core functional strategy is just this, right? That's all it is. And then it's all about optimizing speed, right? Collocation, maybe do some faster data feed. But this is it. So I'm very happy with these results. Took less than 2 hours. And tomorrow we'll continue with doing the exposure monitoring and hedging that with MT5. And so I'm just gonna let it run. Maybe I can like try to also like if you look at this thing here, right? So let's see. So this is the current spread, right? So like my spread that I like define should be within some range within 2 and -2 ideally. So right, so here now we're at -2, right? So it hopefully from now on the spread should be almost always contained between, oh, here the units are BPS. I want the units in USD. So we'll change that. But yeah, we're just hoping to get filled eventually. And for now, that's it. So I'm just going to let it run. I'm going to observe it. And then we'll see. So if someone like places a big market order, buy or sell, hopefully we'll be positioned in the markets to absorb that order. And so we're basically buying at better prices, right? Buying low, selling high. Are you going to add it to a subscription for download? Yes, this is going to be part of the downloadable code. But for now, like I'm still like worried that there might be some issues, right? So ideally, I would want to let it trade for 1 or 2 days, and then maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, I'll just upload it on my website so you guys can try it out later. Extended error perp decks has zero maker fees. They also have TradFi assets like gold. Yes, someone's mentioned that. So I think actually we were quite fast with Gravity today. So to be honest, like I don't need to spend an entire month to do dashboards and control panels because you already have that, right? So I think it's more about doing the proof of concept, doing the initial drafts. So I think I'm not going to spend like an entire month again doing all these things. But I will like, try to create like quick proof of concepts, right? First drafts, so you guys can, get started as soon as possible. And so we can also like try to write a similar strategy on extended as well. So I'm just gonna write it down. And I think like if extended actually has zero maker fees, as you say, then I'm also like super interested in going to extended and trying them out. It's going to write down extended later. Or actually I have my SNL task, I'm writing on paper. So later, once we're done with gravity, let's go to extended, and then we'll have like two dexes that trade on. Like I just want to see like one fill, right? I just want to get filled at least once. Maybe the spread is a bit too tight. I mean too loose, right? Maybe we should like mark up only like, let's say one. One should also be fine, right? So bid is one, ask markup is one, and then that way, tightening the spread basically means we have higher chance of getting filled because then we're competing at top of book. Extend sucks, their support is terrible, and spread not good. Well, with the support, that would be unfortunate, right? But if the spread is not good, we don't actually care because we are market making. So this is actually good for us because we can compete with a bad spread. So our job as a market maker is, to provide good spreads, right? So it's more attractive to trade on that exchange. So So here you see the market making strategy. You buy here, you sell here. You always position in the market, and then like you just measure your maximum exposure. And I'm just hoping to get filled, right? I'm just hoping to get filled eventually, which might take some time, of course. Uh, but yeah, I think this is like super cool. Anyways, guys, so I guess this is it like for today, right? I'm going to work on the MT5 hedging and listening to the exposure. Then we can like also write a very simple dashboard, like a simple one. We're not going, as I said, uh, do something like this, right? Like this took me a lot of time actually. I spent like one entire month doing this, and these control panels. I'm just, mainly trying to show you a strategy that works, and then whatever you do extra on top of that is like you can use the code and try to, create your own dashboards. Claude is like really good, and I just wish get a fill very soon. Like that would be like really nice. Guys, see, look at that. We're at the top of book right now, right? So our price is at the top of book or was. So we actually have a good chance of getting filled soon, right? It just takes a long time because liquidity is not that good here as I can. But eventually we should get filled. So yeah. So guys, any questions? I think I'm just going to pack it and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And we'll continue with our MT5 hedging tool. No, I just, want to sit here for a while and see if we get any fills. But that's what market making is, right? Just have a fair price, buy for low, sell for high. And like one last change that I want to apply here is that I want to show the cross exchange spread in absolute values in not points, basis points. The thing is, we could go like even tighter, right? Like maybe 50 cents. I mean, that might be too tight because then we might have like a stale quote, right? Because we don't have like really fast updates. But yeah, eventually we should get filled. Also like check small changes in the dashboard. So I wanted to display the spread not in basis points, but in absolute values because I can, better understand. I see things in absolute values when I trade here for me like that. Okay. So let's restart the dashboard and okay, so this is the cross exchange spread now. Right now, this value, like before it was 1, right? So it actually shouldn't be higher and lower than 1 based on current settings. Sometimes it can exceed because my quote is stale, or like we cancel the order and then like it just jumps a bit. But most of the time it should actually be below 1. So there's like still a lot of investigation I have to do. App. So now you see, oh right, it can go higher because if we're at the top of book, right? So we're quoting at the top of book and not like when it's low here. So we just need to actually, so it can happen actually that it goes beyond 1. So here we're quoting at top of book. Not any around 1 here. Oh, 5, 9. Okay. So yeah, guys. Anyways, I'll keep you updated regarding strategy. Tomorrow we will continue, and like if I like catch any trades today, I'll just show it to you tomorrow. Like we still have like some work to do, which is the MT5 hedging. So yeah, until then, quite perform. So thank you for joining today's live stream, and I will upload the code, once I've properly tested it. So right now I'm still a bit, unsure if I just finished coding it like a few minutes ago. So let's give it some time and have a good day, guys.